Till about 8 p.m. on the evening of Diwali, it seemed as if the battle against firecrackers was being won. Then suddenly old habits kicked in and the situation started going from bad to worse. Here's where we stand net. I'll show you first the day of Diwali. Last year, on the day of Diwali, the level of pollution was at 452, which is very severe. The level of pollution on Diwali day this year as well, very severe, but down to 353. This is PM 2.5. I now come to the day after Diwali, where pollution last year was at 624 according to the PM 2.5 gauge, now down to 424. So there is roughly about a 40% reduction in pollution levels in the national capital. But is this good enough? Because remember, there's a Lancet study that's come out, and I'll show you a full report in a moment from now, which shows that 1/4 of all premature deaths in India are happening because of toxic air. This is a public health emergency-like situation. This really, to my mind, is the only story we ought to be talking about tonight, because this is a story that directly impacts us, that's directly choking us, that's literally killing us.
This Diwali was to be different for the national capital. The Supreme Court order banning sale of firecrackers promised a quieter, cleaner Diwali for Delhiites. A peaceful and promising evening soon went up in smoke. Morning dawned and Delhi woke up to a thick blanket of smog cloaking the city skyline. Real-time data of pollution levels in different parts of the city began trickling in, and they were alarming to say the least. A look at the data shows particulate matter 2.5 in Anand Vihar crossed very severe mark of 446 micrograms per cubic meter this morning. Mandir Marg was the most polluted, with PM 2.5 touching 941. RK Puram in South Delhi recorded PM 2.5 as 784. The Shantipat area of South Central Delhi logged PM 2.5 of 939. But how bad was it when compared with last year? Data shows the city was less polluted than the gas chamber that Delhi had turned into last Diwali. Yesterday, particulate matter 2.5 in Delhi's air was recorded at 353 micrograms per cubic meter, 22% lesser than the 452 units logged on Diwali 2016. Today, PM 2.5 went up to 424 micrograms per cubic meter, but was 32% less than 624 registered the day after Diwali last year.
मैं समझता हूं कि एयर क्वालिटी पिछले साल के मुकाबले बहुत बेहतर हो गई है.
दिवाली के रात को और उसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट मॉर्निंग हुई, उसमें ये वेरी पुअर से कुछ जगह पर सीवियर कैटेगरी में भी दिखाई दे रही है.
The Supreme Court had called its ban on sale of firecrackers an experiment, and evidence suggests the experiment has worked to a point. But it also means cracker ban is just one in the series of measures needed to fight pollution. The trickier question is, would cracker curbs be extended to cities like Chennai, which saw severe air pollution on Wednesday night when it celebrated Diwali? Bureau Report, India Today.
A partial ban on firecrackers by the Supreme Court had only a partial effect. So what should be done from here on? Should there be an all-year-round complete ban on the sale and use of firecrackers? That's the Newsroom showdown tonight. I want to begin by introducing Ashish Sood. He's a leader of the BJP. Adarsh Shastri is an MLA and a spokesperson for the Aam Aadmi Party. Vimblendu Jha is an environmentalist. Ravina Raj Kohli is a founding member of the My Right to Breathe campaign. With me in the studio is Pandit Ajay Gautam. I want to go across first to Ravina Raj Kohli as one of the leading lights of the My Right to Breathe campaign. You've been crusading against firecrackers the last several weeks. When you look at the pollution levels, Delhi was a gas chamber. Still is. There are two ways of seeing it. One, pollution levels in the capital 24 times the prescribed limit. That's point number one. Point number two, it's down over the last year. Is this a success or was this a failure?
I think what is a success is that the people who refrained from, putting poison into the air by bursting firecrackers, either as an act of ignorance or as an act of defiance. What has happened is the conversations have begun, and these people have shown that when the public wants to do something, the public will. We don't always need bans from the Supreme Court to make us behave in a civilized manner. What this has also made us believe and do is that the larger picture has to be addressed quickly. It is all about a sustained movement to find solutions for the pollution. It has nothing to do with religion or politics. But yes, the legislation needs to be put into place. We need policies and we need a cohesive approach to this. So I'm extremely pleased to say that I think that the first move the citizens have sought is a success. I don't know whether anybody else thinks otherwise, but I think this is a huge first move.
Calling this a huge first move, Vimlendu Jha put out a bunch of tweets asking that there be a public health emergency declared. Do you believe that the naysayers won, or have we reached a tipping point from where things can only get better, Vimlendu?
See, I think the situation is much better, but it is still worse. And that is what, it is to really in one word, that in one phrase, if I can explain what the situation is. We were expecting better behaved citizens last night, but we actually saw, we of course saw less firecrackers, but we saw enough to make Delhi a gas chamber. We expected better governance from our state government and central government when the Supreme Court had actually come up with a ban, but we saw them missing last night. We saw them missing before that. We saw them missing all day today. Not a single word that we have actually heard in terms of public health advisory. As we speak right now, the air quality index in several parts of Delhi today, a day after Diwali, is still 700. And PM 2.5 level is almost touching 600 in several monitoring stations. And these monitoring stations, I don't know if our government representatives read those monitoring stations, because they're all installed by these representatives and their parties and their political dispensation. They all are still reading extreme severe situation, but we haven't heard anything as yet in terms of how do they want to respond to this alarming situation, the existing gas chamber.
And those are the questions I want to put to the AAP and to the BJP, because Ashish Sood, if the PM 2.5 level was anything above 500 or the kind of levels that we've seen the past 24 hours, there would have been a massive outcry in any other country of the world, including in China, if this were to happen in Beijing. Here we haven't heard a word from the central or the state government. It almost appears as if life is going on as if nothing has changed. There's a complete chalta hai attitude, even as Delhi and several other cities continue to remain a choking gas chamber.
Look, the situation in Delhi is alarming, no doubt. For past many months, rather for last 2.5 years, there have been a hue and cry about the alarming situation in this city. My statement should not be taken as if I am commenting upon the decisions of the Supreme Court, but the decision has not been taken well by the citizens itself. As the previous speakers were talking, that it is the citizens, when they decide they want to do it, then they do it. No ban can effectively
the most irresponsible actions were down to people from your party. Look at the likes of Tejinder Bagga and the others, not only violating the will of the Supreme Court, openly going out bursting firecrackers despite the party telling him to behave responsibly. If these kind of characters are in your party made national spokespersons, then of course there will be people upset, there will be people anguished, because that's being fueled by people in the ruling government.
Let me give my complete viewpoint. First of all, Tejinder Bagga is not the national spokesperson. He is a spokesperson in Delhi. My party's viewpoint as regard to the environmental situation in Delhi is very clear. Tejinder Bagga being a part, there are many other political activists who are activists of one party and keep their own view. Tejinder Bagga is having one viewpoint that this ban is irrational. There are many other people's.
Sorry, it's not just Tejinder Bagga's viewpoint. If you have a problem with what he's saying, throw him out. Say he's no longer a spokesperson. You are doing neither. Vimlendu Jha. Is this crisis not being aggravated by irresponsible actions of people who've been given positions of responsibility? No, I'm sorry, I want Vimlendu Jha to come in right now. Vimlendu.
What you are saying?
Yeah, Rahul, absolutely. I don't think the government can get away so easily and so conveniently and put the onus, the entire onus on
anybody.
I don't think the government, as in it's so unfortunate that the government depends on the citizenry to behave when they actually fail in governance. Isn't the government custodian of our health? Isn't government custodian of air quality? And why have we not seen any action as yet from any of our government representatives? So to put the blame squarely, sir, let me finish. Let me finish, sir.
Delhi should be asked these questions, Mr. Vimlendu
Jha. Can I finish? Can I finish, sir?
Just a second. The people
I don't know what channel you've been on. I will not have Ashish Sood. I will not have you speaking over another guest. This is not the way I run debates on this channel. I am not okay with this. One at a time. Respect the other person's time. Allow him to complete his sentence. I will come to you. I will give you an opportunity to rebut. Do not be irresponsible like Tejinder Bagga and others. Do not be irresponsible. I do not like that. Vimlendu, complete.
Yeah, so there is of course a sustained failure in that sense, if I would say, of governance in managing our environmental issues. As in just now we had a Lancet report which says that almost 25 lakh people die in India every year because of pollution issues. And now when the government representative actually puts the entire onus on the citizenry and doesn't really tell us and us the citizens that what are they doing, how do they look at this alarming situation? And it's not just about Delhi and it's not about a particular political party. It is about, do we have a regime, do we have a responsibility, do we have a responsive governance in place? And very sorry, there's none.
To some extent, the Aam Aadmi Party also needs to respond to Adarsh Shastri. Yesterday in several marketplaces, despite the ban, I know that there was an elaborate racket that was at play. Firecrackers were being sold late into the evening. People came back after 8:39, started bursting these crackers. You had to give a parchi at the shop. The firecrackers would be put into your car trunk and you'd come back home with the firecrackers. You had to pay a premium. There's a racket taking place. Where were all your inspectors? Why was the Aam Aadmi Party government missing in action? Why did you not help the Supreme Court's ban be implemented? Why was the ban violated in this cavalier fashion?
Well, Rahul, first of all, the order which was placed by the Supreme Court, I think that had to be implemented in two parts. One was making sure that no sale of firecracker happens from the shops. Towards that, the enforcement that we have is the Environment Ministry and the Delhi Pollution Board and the administration through the SDMs. All of that machinery was on the roads to ensure that no sale of firecrackers happened, not just yesterday, but over the last 2.5 to 3 weeks. The challenge is that there is not enough manpower, either with the Delhi Pollution Control Board or the number of SDMs, to ensure that such kind of surreptitious sale doesn't take place. That is one. Secondly, I think the ban did not cover bursting, of crackers, which is a challenge, because if you control sale and do not talk about bursting, then you cannot implement any ban in letter and spirit. Secondly, with all due respect, the Supreme Court earlier gave permissions to traders to sell crackers in September and then disavowed them in October. Now it led to a window being created for many traders who had crackers, fireworks stock with them, to surreptitiously sell them, which is what I believe happened. But I still agree with the fact that there has been a decline yesterday, visibly as well as
Ravina Rajkoli, do you share this assessment?
But of course it is not enough.
That because it seemed as if the ban was being thrust down on citizens, a lot of people felt, "Acha karke dekh lo, hum to phadenge, crackers phadenge, what can you do?" So do you think that became a bit of an issue, the fact that people rebelled? They didn't like that this was being thrust down. They'd rather that this happened as a result of a natural evolution, not as a result of a diktat.
So that brings me to the point I wanted to make. I somewhat agree with everything that the person just said. Last year on Children's Day, a few of us went to meet Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. He's our Honorable Chief Minister. We have images of him holding up a flag that says a mask-free Children's Day 2017. He has had 1 year to put preemptive measures into place, to put some policies into place, to put some actions into place, to negotiate what needs to be done with the central government if he thinks he's being impeded. Where is that promise, Mr. Kejriwal? I want to know what we have actually done for the citizens of the state in Delhi to prevent this kind of disaster happening over and over again. Anybody who can answer that question will answer the question why people are still rebelling and saying that we want to help ourselves. Can our administration help us? We are here to work with the government and the administration. We are not here to defy them. But the Supreme Court ban
I think that's a very, very important point.
It led to people playing up the whole intense... The political game became too important. Until 8 o'clock yesterday, there was a semblance of, civilized behavior, and then it exploded. Everybody knows why. There were crackers being distributed. Somebody made money. I want to know who made money yesterday. Somebody made big money in the name of saying and passing the buck on to the citizens for bad behavior. No. Somebody wanted this to happen. So let's address all these issues honestly together.
And I'll tell you why it is imperative that we address these issues, because renowned international medical journal Lancet has put out a report which says the maximum number of premature deaths in India are happening because of toxic air, because of pollution. And this is more than in any other country in the world. This is a public health emergency, make no mistake. And the last thing that you want is that communalism enters this fray, that it becomes BJP versus AAP versus Congress. It's all of us together in this battle. We need to fight, we need to win. Take a look at this report.
Everyone knows pollution kills. But how deadly a killer is it? Pollution kills more people than war and all other forms of violence. More than smoking, hunger or natural calamities. More than AIDS, TB and malaria combined. And here is the shocker. India is the worst in the world when it comes to deaths caused by pollution. Out of the 90 lakh pollution-related deaths across the world, 25 lakh happened in India in 2015. And this accounts for 25% of premature deaths in the country. These are findings of a study that was published in Lancet Medical Journal this week.
Not only premature death, otherwise also we are staying in a gas chamber. So not only deaths, we are suffering from lot of diseases and airway diseases, especially because we are polluting our lungs because we are taking all bad air.
The study highlights that many poorer countries are yet to make pollution a priority. The vast majority of pollution-related deaths, 92% of them, occur in low and middle-income countries. And though India has tightened vehicle and factory emission norms, very little has been done about crop burning, garbage fire, construction dust, or rampant use of the dirtiest fossil fuels, says the study. The Supreme Court's ban on sale of firecrackers was an attempt to check the pollution. But such measures seem like a drop in the ocean when compared with the Herculean task India is facing.
As far as the ban on crackers is concerned, if you look at data of air quality index, it has come down to some extent, but it's still in the very poor range, which means that we still have high chances of individuals with respiratory diseases and heart diseases coming to the hospital, and it is going to affect their health.
As the Lancet report shows, India needs to plan a strategy to tackle the deadly pollution immediately. The matter cannot be ignored and must be a global priority. Bureau Report, India Today.
This Lancet journal is alarming, Pandit Ajay Gautam, because it shows that 1/4 of the deaths in India are happening because of toxic air. तो इसमें धर्म का नाम, हिंदू वर्सेस मुस्लिम, ये सब करना आप भगवान के वास्ते बंद कीजिए।
राहुल जी, मेरा बेसिक सवाल ये है, क्या जो प्रीमैच्योर डेथ होती हैं वो सारी दीपावली की वजह से होती हैं?
सब पोल्यूशन की वजह से। सब पोल्यूशन
तो पोल्यूशन में मैं थोड़ा एजुकेट कर दूं मेरे साथ के जो रवीना जी हैं, बाकी के लोग हैं, कि 50% पोल्यूशन का जो रोल है वो डस्ट पार्टिकल की वजह से होता है। कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए ना, पर आप मानेंगे कि दिवाली पे स्पाइक हुआ, मानेंगे कि बोलने तो दीजिए सर, बोलने तो दीजिए। मैंने सबको सुना है 20 मिनट पेशेंसली। मैं कहता हूं कि 50% जो रोल है पॉल्यूशन का वो कंस्ट्रक्शन और डस्ट पार्टिकल की वजह से है। 23% पॉल्यूशन इंडस्ट्रीज पॉल्यूशन की वजह से है। 17% से जो पॉल्यूशन है वो जो मूविंग ट्रक और बसेस जो डीजल की यहां से दिल्ली से ट्रांजिट होती है उनकी वजह से है। पटाखों की वजह से पॉल्यूशन जो है वो 3 से 4% है। और आपका जो ध्यान है वो बाकी के 96% पॉल्यूशन को हटाने को लेकर नहीं है। आपका जो ध्यान है वो सिर्फ 4% पॉल्यूशन कैसे हटेगा, बिकॉज ये जो मोमबत्ती और नॉट इन माई नेम वाला जो गैंग है, ये क्या करता है, जैसे ही कोई हिंदू फेस्टिवल आने लगता है ये लोग जाते हैं PIL लगा देते हैं। मुहर्रम को लेके ये कभी नहीं लगाते हैं, नहीं ईद उल फितर को लेकर कोई नहीं लगाता है, ईद उल जुमा को लेकर नहीं लगाते हैं, ईस्टर पे पटाखे बजते हैं, नए साल पर बजते हैं, IPL के मैच में बजते हैं। मुझे बता, अरे छोड़िए, मुझे इससे आपसे सर्टिफिकेट नहीं लेना। मैं ये कह रहा हूँ बाकी के 364 दिन सबको अभयदान मिल जाता है। मुझे बता दीजिए, 24 किलोमीटर सर यमुना है, 24 किलोमीटर यमुना का बैंक है, उससे इतनी मीथेन गैस डिस्चार्ज होती है, 1000 करोड़ रुपया खर्च हो गया।
Okay, you've spoken. Let Ravina respond.
Has he not listened properly to the argument?
24 किलोमीटर की यमुना साफ करने के लिए क्या हुआ जो मेन कॉज है पॉल्यूशन का, उसके लिए क्या किया आपने?
Lovely, I respect that. Everybody knows what the causes of pollution are. क्या बोल रहे हैं आप? आपको पता भी है कि लोग कितना काम करते हैं 365 days of the year. आप बोली जा रहे दिवाली के टाइम में क्रैकर्स है, आपको पता ही नहीं कुछ, आप वही अटके हुए हैं उसके ऊपर। आप सोचिए तो हम लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं, आप सुनिए तो हम लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं।
अरे रवीना जी, 2015 के NGT के ऑर्डर के लिए आपने क्या इंप्लीमेंट हो गया?
हिंदुत्व के ऊपर क्यों अटके हुए हैं?
जो फसलें किसान जला रहे हैं हरियाणा और पंजाब में, किसको रोक लिया आपने?
ओ प्लीज, हम लोग
प्लीज की बात नहीं है ना, प्लीज की बात नहीं है। भैया हमारे घर में भी बच्चे हैं, रवीना जी आपके बच्चे नहीं, हमारे घर में भी बच्चे हैं, हमें भी अपने बच्चों की। मैं ये कहता हूँ 365 दिन आपको बच्चों की चिंता नहीं है क्या? आप 365 दिन का सॉल्यूशन निकालिए ना।
आप तो पता नहीं आपका एजेंडा क्या है, ये मैं आपसे लड़ नहीं ले। राहुल, आई डोंट वांट टू हैव वर्ड्स विद देम।
ओके, वन सेकंड, अरे आपने बोल दिया ना, उसको भी बोलने दो। यू स्पोकन, नाउ लेट अस स्पीक।
Because you do not have any answer on my query.
बोलने तो दीजिए, turn the fader down, let Ravina complete.
I do not want to engage with this man. No, Rahul, there is no point in making this argument drop to this level. This is such an important issue. This translates into value for life. Let's lose all this nonsense arguments and defense of this. This is not about religion or crackers or Diwali.
You are talking nonsense because you have no concern with the rest of 364 days. You have no concern with 364 days.
Thank you, I'm glad.
You do not have any concern with 364 days. You do not have that.
Really? We started this a year ago. What have you done about this? What have you done about this? What have you done about anything?
चिल्लाइए मत। आप क्या कर रहे हैं? आपने कौन सी सफाई कर दी है?
कौन सी सफाई नहीं करी है?
कौन सी सफाई की है?
कितने ऑर्डर कराए हमने NGT से? अगर स्टैचुरी बॉडी फेल है तो उसमें हमारा दोष है क्या? आप एक दिन 364 दिन की बात नहीं है। 364 दिन के लिए आपके पास कोई ब्लूप्रिंट।
आपने क्या किया? उससे क्यों ब्लूप्रिंट मांग रहे हो? वो तो सिटीजन है, आपने कौन सा
सिटीजन है? वो कैसे कह रही है कि हम लाइफ की रिस्पेक्ट नहीं करते? हम लाइफ की रिस्पेक्ट नहीं करते।
आपने क्या कर दिया? आपने दिल्ली को साफ करने के लिए क्या कर दिया?
दिल्ली के साफ करने के लिए रिट पिटीशन नंबर 85/14 देखिए कितने ऑर्डर्स कराए हैं क्या, लेकिन उसको इंप्लीमेंट भी कराना हमारे हाथ में है। आप मुझे बताइए, मैं कहता हूं 365 दिन क्रैकर बैन करिए, दीपावली के दिन क्यों?
Okay, let me put this question to Adarsh Shastri because I think this is a fair point. The point that the battle against pollution cannot come down to being a battle against firecrackers. It needs to be a battle against pollution 365 days of the year, against all forms and sources of pollution. Arvind Kejriwal, when there was a crisis last year, said this would be the government's top priority, we will mobilize government machinery. Nothing happened. The crisis subsided and your party, your government forgot all about it. Is that not, Adarsh Shastri, a big letdown?
Rahul, we Arvind Kejriwal last year committed that we will start vacuuming the roads, and today the PWD roads are being vacuumed as we speak for the last 7-8 months. Arvind Kejriwal was the first chief minister, in spite of criticism, to talk about odd and even, implemented it twice. You know, we were the one who did it, no one else did it. You know, Arvind Kejriwal put a ban through the administration on any construction without ensuring proper partitions and curtains, and that has been implemented, and the record is available in the amount of fines which have been collected, have been imposed on people doing unauthorized construction without the right mechanisms in place. So it is not that all of that has not happened. A lot of it is happening. It is under Arvind Kejriwal's government that the Ministry of Environment has raised the monitoring stations from 6 to over 25. You know, in every aspect there is work which has happened. You know, we have been trying to implement the ban, enforcing, you know, stopping the sales of firecrackers. But like I said, that is not an easy task to do. You know, you have a population of over 2 crores in the NCR region.
And the Delhi government also was a letdown. And the Delhi police was an even bigger letdown. There were so many reports, Ashish Sood, the Delhi police reports to the Lieutenant Governor, who in turn reports to your government. There were crackers being sold, you did nothing about it.
The Aam Aadmi Party has to say.
You allowed those firecrackers to be sold. You allowed for the Supreme Court orders to be violated.
I was trying to make, you stopped me to make my point at the initial stage. No ban can be enforced unless the citizens decide to do it. Courts, I am not commenting upon the merit of the decision of the court. Courts ordered them to issue the licenses on 12th September, which were withdrawn in October. It was related to the lives of the people.
Okay.
And the people who are bursting the crackers, they are also the citizens. They have also a viewpoint. Are they not supposed to be heard? Number one. Number two, Adarsh Shastri was talking that odd and even was implemented. What after odd and even? What steps have been taken? We have been always saying, shut down Badarpur thermal plant.
There are 2 or 3 things I want to say as I conclude this debate. First and foremost, you know, let's not be despondent. Everybody.
I'm making an important point. Rahul, I'm making an important point.
I'm out of time, so you'll have to hurry up.
Let me complete. Let me complete. I'm making an important point.
At least the Aam Aadmi Party government did something.
The Badarpur thermal power plant, the amount of pollution that it makes, it is equal to the amount of pollution created by the all vehicles flying in Delhi in 17 years. Why didn't it took them so many months when the Delhi was choking? The central government is ready to give.
Okay, I've heard everyone. I've heard everyone. I'm out of time. I want to say a couple of things. I want to say a couple of things
of 364 days.
As I conclude. You know, everybody who's been involved in this My Right to Breathe campaign needn't be despondent, for the simple reason that A, there's been a 40% drop in pollution levels over last year. That by itself is a start. It's not getting worse. It was better. It's still a gas chamber, but not as bad as last year. Two, people like Tejinder Bagga, official spokesperson of the BJP, their actions are a complete disgrace. The fact that the party has chosen not to act against them by itself shows the party trying to play the populist card as well, as opposed to taking a stronger moral position. Point number 3, there were far fewer people bursting crackers this time, but probably the people who were bursting crackers were doing so with a vengeance, more than making up for those who chose to do the right thing. Point number 4, this is not about communalism, this is not about religion, this is about you, me, all of us together. This is a battle we have to fight together. If we don't fight, we all lose. It's as simple as that. You can keep scoring as many political, religious points as you want. Unless we fight and win this battle together, we're all dead. It's quite simple. And therefore, we have no option but to fight, not just against firecrackers, but but to fight against all forms and all sources of pollution, and this must be an all-year fight. I want to thank my guests for joining us. The one other great thing though is that pollution, which has long been a problem, is now center stage, taking up a lot of airtime, generating a lot of conversation. That by itself is a good thing.